Good morning, everybody. Mike O'Brien here with our weekly fire service leadership update. Just wanted to share a couple things. Now, obviously, tomorrow, February 2nd, is Groundhog's Day, which I think probably most of us are hoping that we don't get another 6 weeks of winter. But, you know, one thing I was thinking about when I was kind of prepping for today is, did you realize the Punxsutawney Groundhog Club has an all-night party in Pennsylvania tonight into tomorrow? I just can't fathom being outside in the cold, but I'm sure it's a great environment and it's something to see. But here's hoping that tomorrow, Groundhog's Day, is not another 6 weeks, but who knows? And really, speaking of winter, obviously last week our fire service friends on the East Coast took a pretty big wallop and are still probably digging out. And then, of course, we've got storms moving pretty much across the west here into the Midwest, starting pretty much tonight, which is going to dump a lot of snow in a lot of regions. So, hopefully our fire service leadership, our chiefs are prepping their communities, extra staffing, working with their dispatch centers, having those conversations just to make sure that everybody is nice and prepared for whatever this storm might wallop across the Midwest. You know, we'd be remiss if we didn't pause for a couple seconds to think through the Stockton Captain Max Foruna, who was shot yesterday and killed while responding to a dumpster fire that was threatening a structure. I can only fathom his engine company and the work they did in transition from firefighting into saving or serving one of their own. I think all of our hearts and thoughts are with, the Stockton Fire Department, the captain's family, his crew, because, from all of us, right, trying to go do our job and being threatened in such a capacity is just absolutely horrific. I hope you take time to get caught up, to think about his family, his crews, and send maybe a note of encouragement to that department. It's just a tough thing. And speaking about tough things, fatal house fires across the United States are really unprecedented numbers in January, both in the residential setting. We've had a lot of high profile fires, but we've had a lot of single and double deaths across the United States. And it's reaching just about every portion of the country. As leadership, hopefully we take time to make sure we keep that vision sharp for our staff. In our interactions, both in the emergency field as well as non-emergency, from really engaging our social media, our CRR folks, our community risk reduction folks, in educating and getting messages out to remind our public. Anything from smoke alarms to home escape plans. We can start to get into space heaters really this time of year. Maintenance on our HVAC equipment, chimney type fires, and those types of things. But really, it's a good opportunity for us as fire chiefs to continue to work with our staff, engage them, use our social media, use our platforms to really see what we can do to help our just general public, because this was just a terrible January as it relates to fatal fires really across North America. Speaking of which, yesterday I had the opportunity to work with the folks at CFSI, NFPA, NFSA, ICC, and the IAFF as we did a webinar on fire sprinklers and really the retrofit HighRise style, sprinkler protection. And it was attended by nearly 300 people, both staff in Congress all the way down to fire service. And really our goal was to help educate and bring awareness to this fire problem. And, one of the things that I kind of stated is we know that it takes a lot of work by our fire service to engage, collaborate, set that vision within a local community to get their codes adopted, to get things updated. And it's a tough decision. Well, it shouldn't be tough, but it's a hard, complicated decision. Specifically in that retrofit HighRise arena. And, some of the work that's being done is really the HighRise Fire Sprinkler Initiative Act. I hope you Google it, take a look. If you're attending CFSI or you have a great relationship with your local legislators, your folks that are serving your community up in Congress. Have a conversation with them. Just search the HighRise Fire Sprinkler Initiative Act and see what you can do to help, because really that's going to take a collective approach. Switching gears a little bit, IAFC, probably since last time we spoke, sent out a great guide here for creating a diverse and inclusive department, both the volunteer workforce solutions as well as VCOS. Got the report out, and I've heard lots of great feedback as we've been out talking to folks throughout the country. And it's really a great guide to help stimulate and bring some discussions. I think all of us within the fire service are looking at ways that we can retain, hire just some of the best people. And really this guide, I think it's something that all of us as fire chiefs are really striving for. And there could be barriers we know about or barriers we don't know about within our organization. And it's really a great opportunity to slow down, get some folks working within your organization. But, if you're an IFC member, you should have gotten a copy of that. And hopefully you take time to dive into it. Speaking of upcoming training, just something that's a little different for us here in the U.S., but there's an opportunity to head out to the Community Risk Reduction Leadership Program. It was one of the highest attended conferences that we saw pre-COVID. It was in Reno in the past. It's heading to Toronto, but save the dates, May 24th through 26th. The Fire Life Safety section within the IFC have been doing some pretty great things to get that conference up and running. But it is up in Toronto, which is a little bit different. So make sure you got your passport, you're ready to travel international, because Toronto's a great host city. Our Canadian fire chiefs are just fantastic, and you're gonna want to be there to just be a part of it. Now, I don't know if we coined this term, but it seems that leadership nuggets keeps coming up. And I was listening to a podcast, had nothing to do with the fire service. And really the question that came up was what makes a good team? And I was sitting there thinking about this within the fire service. And I think some of the things that I think of our good crew bosses and our good fire chiefs, what they're doing to really set the tone, right? Because we bring in new employees all the time. We move employees around as part of shift trades or even realigning their schedules. And there's a lot on the bosses. There's a lot on the fire chiefs, because, really it comes down, when I thought about this, it came down to a couple things that I think I see in the fire service. There's no doubt trust is there. I think the fire service knows how important it is, but it's not just trusting each other and trusting your officer, right? But is there trust in the mission? Is there trust in leadership, trust in each other? I think something that's very important that I do feel a lot of our bosses extend, and I know I talk about it with our new officers, is effort. How they tackle problems, how they communicate, how they, what is their effort in their training, in their reports, how they do the little things matters. But one of the things that I think we all bring up all the time in that making a good team is attitude. A great attitude opens a lot of doors in the fire service, and a bad attitude slams a lot of them. And it's not just on one day, right? We hear all the time that this is the best profession in the world, but our attitudes don't show that. And so trust, effort, attitude. And I think really when we're trying to get somebody to be a part of the team, us as fire chiefs, we really got to sell that mission. What are we here for? Because one thing I have found is when we're not selling the mission, when I'm not painting a vision of what the organization should be doing, man, we get a lot of good work by individuals, but it's not part of a team. It's done in silos. It's done in crews. We have 3 different shifts and, 5 different stations and how things are run. So, those are just some of the things, but in our leadership nugget for today, I hope you take a couple minutes, maybe just to sit back and think, hey, what does it take to make a great team? And what is my role in doing some of that? But how many times do we see that us as leaders just have to be master at communications? We have to be master when we're communicating the vision, when we're communicating the great things that are happening within our organization. Boy, is there a lot more buy-in from our staff. That was probably our leadership nugget for the day. And just to kind of wrap up, yesterday, if you're not a subscriber of the secret list, Chief Goldfeder sent out a new webpage, and it's focused on active male firefighters age 40 and above to help them understand a very prominent male cancer, which is prostate cancer. And if you know Chief Goldfeder, the webpage 40plusfire.com, 40plusfire.com, I'll throw it in the links. He put this in firefighter terms. And so we're so appreciative that he is sharing his story. He's charging the way on this. I hope you give it a visit. I hope everybody stays safe today. I'd love to hear from you. What you think makes a great team. Throw it down in the comments. Let us know. And I hope everybody has a great day.